People love visuals. People love stars. People love seeing like a visual breakdown because it's different than just bullet points. And so the scorecards is a really great way to kind of like cover, these are the things that you asked out of this for us to find. We have found them. This is our evaluation of what you require of this particular candidate. Here is our presentation of those. And it makes it a little bit easier to and obvious as to why recruiters submitted this candidate, why hiring managers should interview those particular candidates.
Initiating becoming a hiring machine sequence in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, it's Sam Keenly, and welcome back to Becoming a Hiring Machine. This is the show dedicated to fixing recruitment by going beyond saying what needs to change and instead teaches you how to make that change. Today, we've got a great Tactical Tuesday episode ahead of us, but before we get into that, I want to tell you a little bit about the show. Essentially, we have shows within the show here. Some days we have interviews with industry thought leaders and others who are shaking up the space, while other days we cover things like trending topics. Stop by every Tuesday like today for our Tactical Tuesday episode where we go deep on how to do something that's going to help you drive better results in your day-to-day. And occasionally, you get a mic drop episode from Matt where he shares something that he's been thinking about within the recruitment space and wants you to know. As a reminder, if you like the content that we're sharing here on the show, make sure that you subscribe for more. All right, what is one thing that top billers do in Loxo that others don't? You've heard me ask that question twice now, and today is the third time. As you know, we do get it a lot, and today is our final part 3 of our top biller series, where we're going to cover one specific thing that really separates top billers from the rest. So today's topic is scorecards and highlights, and let's get into it with your favorite Tactical Tuesday co-host, Vivien. Vivien, sad day, our mini-series. It's wrapping up.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. We'll have another one before long, I'm sure. Another good mini series. So yeah, if anyone's listening, you have specific series that you're curious to hear us take on, let us know. We always tell everyone. No one probably listens to the end by say, email us, podcast@loxo.co. If you want to hear topics covered, if you want to hear tactics covered, anything else, send them to us. We'd love to chat about what's interesting to you. But yeah, anyway, top billers, highlights, scorecards. What do you think?
Let's do it. Yeah, those two are actually like fairly popular, mainly because of the structure and how you can use them. So scorecards, those are mainly used for the must-have criteria where the hiring manager said there's a handful of things that this candidate absolutely must have. And so when those top users and top billers, when they are actually submitting candidates using the scorecards, what they do is they will literally create an attribute for each of the must-have skills. And after the screening call, they will complete that scorecard. They will give each attribute or must-have criteria a star rating from 1 to 5. And they will add a quick note justifying or explaining why they gave it that particular rating. And this makes it really easy for hiring managers to log into the hiring manager portal and to review each candidate and see, okay, why are they submitting this one? And how do they compare to each other? Because most of the time recruiters, maybe they will do like a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet. They will do a little like table comparing candidates, but then you constantly have to edit this, update this. It gets a little bit messy the more candidates that you have. And then they're in different spreadsheets or in different docs, and it just gets a little bit messy. But if you have like a easy way to do a side-by-side comparison, and for some people, like people love visuals, people love stars, people love seeing like a visual breakdown because it's different than just bullet points. And so the scorecards is a really great way to kind of like cover, these are the things that you asked out of this for us to find. We have found them. This is our evaluation of what you require of this particular candidate. Here is our presentation of those. And it makes it a little bit easier to and obvious as to why recruiters submitted this candidate, why hiring managers should interview those particular candidates. On the flip side, if recruiters keep getting feedback of like, no, this isn't it, then it's very easy to figure out, okay, well, hold on. You told us this is the criteria, but it actually seems like this is not really what it is that you're looking for, because our understanding was this is what it was. We thought we presented it to you. You're declining them and saying you're not want to move forward. Let's take a step back and figure out what is exactly missing with these candidates. Maybe we need to update the must-have requirements a little bit. And so that also helps with communication and making sure you're both on the same page.
I like that. Simple, it's easy, it makes sense. So as a recruiter, are you sharing the scorecard before you get started to say like, hey, are we aligned on these being the top 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 most important criteria?
Yeah, so usually you will do some kind of intake call once the hiring manager gets a green light to engage with a recruiter on this particular search, and you will get the job description. You will ask about, okay, what is it that you're looking for? And usually towards the end, recruiters typically say, okay, just to recap, these are the must-haves that you're looking for. These are some of the nice to haves that would be nice, but really aren't all that relevant and things like that. And this is kind of where you do that quick little recap. And then obviously once you submit the candidates, they will see that this is how you are evaluating them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an easy way to kind of be like, are we hitting the mark? And so if you're not hitting the mark, they will keep declining. The number one issue that recruiters typically have when working with hiring managers is to get constructive feedback. A lot of times it's just like, no, I'll pass on this one. And it's like, but why? I thought this candidate has everything that you're looking for. And it's really hard because hiring managers think it's obvious what they mean and what they're referring to. And on the flip side, recruiters think they understand what the hiring manager is looking for and they don't understand where's the disconnect. Why are they declining this one? And this is where this like hidden frustrations, almost resentment starts building up between the two. And it's because nobody knows how to communicate about a blind spot that both have. They're aware that there is a blind spot, but if it's a blind spot, like, you know, there is a blind spot, but you don't know what it is. And it gets really weird. And the scorecards eliminate that because you're like, well, hold on a second. This is what you told me that you wanted. This is my evaluation. What am I missing here? And it's a lot easier for the hiring manager than to say, actually, with this one, I mainly mean this, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of subjectivity here, this reminds me, I remember there was one recruiter that I worked with once, and you and I always talk about like, sometimes all it takes is just do one thing differently as a recruiter. You'll be forever remembered. This recruiter, they kept it to, I think we had a max of 5 attributes in there, but I like 4 to 5 or so. What they did though was they said, if they get 1 to 2, like, you're not moving forward with them if they only score 1 to 2 on certain things that are important. So we're not even going to talk about that, but they're like, this is what 3 stars look like. How they can explain it, their experience, their skills, whatever it is. This is what 4 stars looks like. This is what 5 stars looks like. So that way we were on the same exact page. It was less subjective and more like I could know exactly what they wanted in that. And that helped with a lot of alignment with that too. So I don't know if they were a top biller or not, because again, I wasn't in their organization at the time, but I thought like, holy cow, like, made my life way easier in understanding why did they give them a 4. If they said they're a 4, this is exactly what I can expect in them coming to me. So I don't know, bonus points. Well, I'm assuming they were top biller if they were doing that, but that was only one recruiter's ever done that with me, but I loved it.
And it makes it so much easier because as a hiring manager, to you, when you're in that industry, you know exactly what something means and what you're referring to. Recruiters, they may have a lot of experience, but sometimes the way that people understand different terms and what they mean by them is different. And the more you can clarify that, it's almost like people forget technically we see our noses, but our brains, they just blend it out. And so for some of the must-have criteria, it's like you're like for the hiring manager, it's like a nose. It's so obvious that you're just blending it out. You don't even think to be like, oh yeah, I can actually see my nose. You know.
I've been thinking about this now for the last 30 seconds, and everyone listening to this is now just like, ooh, my nose. Hello.
Exactly. So talk about your nose as a hiring manager and as a recruiter. Find the hiring manager's hidden nose.
Yes. Yeah. What's obvious to you isn't to them. Okay. I love that. Okay. Scorecards. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. But okay. So let's get into highlights now.
Highlights. I actually love calling this a sticky note. And the reason why is because it's almost like a little sticky note that you can put on a resume. Granted, everything is digital now, so we don't do sticky notes. So this is kind of like the equivalent of like a sticky note. So the best way to use that highlight section in Loxo is to add any additional information that is outside of the must-haves requirements and that general criteria. So any nice to have, any fun fact, any really interesting projects. It can even be something like 6 months ago when you were just randomly catching up with a hiring manager, they said, hey, we're actually getting ready to build an integration with Workday. We're not going to be directly working with it, but our team is going to be impacted because that integration is going to be there. And then you know that this is coming up, and then you talk to a candidate, they have all of the must-have requirements, and oh, fun fact, they actually just have been through a Workday integration. They have that experience. They know what went really well and what didn't for that particular team. That's really valuable experience that they can bring to the table. That's a little fun fact. Not a must-have, it's nice to have. It's a cherry on top. It can be even like interesting experience, what they prefer about work, why they're even interested in looking for a new opportunity, or why this seems particularly interesting to them. And or for European listeners, in Europe, CVs typically also include family status, family plans, all that fun stuff. That's something that I see some European customers do as well. Americans, please do not do this. This will get you in legal trouble. And so the highlight section, what I see that is actually extremely helpful is to add the candidate's interview availability along with any interviews that have been scheduled, because that way when hiring managers are going into the portal on the highlight, they can actually see, okay, this is the availability, this is my availability. You can just go ahead and schedule that interview for XYZ time, or, oh yeah, we're meeting with them next, all that fun stuff. So it just has like the snapshot and all the infos there. And you can add little like updates on this particular person, anything that might be helpful, like fun fact that would make this person more human and would help the hiring manager visualize what it would be like to work with this kind of person, why they would want to work with them. You want to put that into the highlight section, bullet points. You can, I mean, it's a full-fledged text editor. So I've seen people put emojis in there as well, just to kind of like visually break things up.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of different ways that you can use it, but it's usually for additional stuff that will help you kind of like make this person more human and help the hiring manager see how would this person be like to work with, and anything to kind of like take a look at and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. It's going to be a bad analogy. Hopefully it helps a little bit. So like I look at data all day as a marketer, numbers everywhere. And I say data without context is pointless. So to like go to a resume, it's like, yes, they've done this. They have that skill. They have that expertise. This is almost the context that supports that. Like some of the things that don't fit cleanly in the resume, but like round out, like you said, things that a hiring manager should know or will help the conversation moving forward for you to understand, like, is this person a good fit for the role? So, okay. I like how I see what you're doing. Like it's complementary to everything that they get in there versus like, these are the 3 most important things that you need to, it's not a summary.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit of like more of their story, anything that will help kind of like fill the gaps, because the reality is candidates are not updating their resume for every single position. I know that hiring managers would love for that to be the case, but ultimately nobody has time for that, not even in the age of AI, even though it's super, super easy to do that nowadays. And so what the recruiter can do, and this is the recruiter setting themselves up for success, is anything that the candidate has said during the screening call, or that you have asked, anything that you have extrapolated, you can easily summarize this in a way of like, when the hiring manager reads this, oh wow, this is exactly why I would want this particular candidate. So typically recruiter, whenever they're doing an interview prep call, they will tell candidates to use the STAR method. So the situation, the task, the action, the result of what they have accomplished to really demonstrate their value and how they would fit into the team and how they would be able to do everything that is required of them in that particular job. Recruiters can use the exact same method when they're actually submitting candidates to hiring managers, and they can fill in that context a little bit more with like, hey, this is actually a standout project that I think would be really beneficial based on what I know about your team, and use the STAR method to really explain what was the situation, what did they end up doing, and what were the results of that. And that way you can kind of like help paint the picture.
It's like you've done this before.
I know, right?
I love it. Okay. These are 2 good things. I think these are some great points to end our series on. So yeah, for anyone who hasn't listened, make sure that you've checked out all 3 of these episodes, but that's going to take you from wherever you're at to being a top biller. So Viv, as always, I appreciate you coming on, sharing this. So next week we'll see what topic we cover there. But again, if anyone has suggestions, ideas, things that they want to hear us cover, send them our way. podcast@loxo.co. You're also a recruiter. I bet you can figure out our email addresses if you want to send them directly to Vivien and I. So, all right. Well, as we wrap, Becoming a Hiring Machine is a production of Loxo. If you like this episode, but you're not sure where to go next, we do have a link to a similar one, and you can find that in the show notes, which is contained within the description of your favorite podcast streaming platform, as well as on our website. We do have full video episodes available on YouTube. Have questions, topics you want to hear us cover, send them our way, podcast@loxo.co. And lastly, if you love this episode, please make sure to leave us a quick rating in your podcast streaming platform. It takes you 3 seconds, but it's going to help other recruiters like you to find us. So, all right, everyone, that's the show. That was another great Tactical Tuesday with Vivien. Until next time, bye, y'all.